Before you take your next breath, pause for just a moment. Notice how automatic it feels, how effortlessly air enters your body without asking permission, without demanding attention. You have been breathing since the first second you arrived in this world, yet almost no one ever taught you how powerful this simple act truly is. What if the very thing you do more than 20,000 times a day carries the ability to calm your nervous system, heal your body, reshape your mind, and quietly transform your entire life? What if ancient Buddhist monks understood something about the breath that modern science is only now beginning to confirm? There is a reason this knowledge feels hidden, almost sacred. It does not shout, it does not sell, it does not demand belief. It waits patiently, just beneath the surface of your awareness, ready to reveal itself the moment you slow down enough to notice. The Buddha once said that peace comes from within, and that the mind follows the breath like a shadow follows the body. For centuries, his words echoed through monasteries, caves, and forests, long before brain scans, cortisol measurements, or neuroscience labs existed. Today, those ancient insights are quietly meeting scientific proof, and the meeting point is nothing short of extraordinary. Imagine a man sitting beneath a tree over 2,500 years ago. His body is tired, his mind restless, his heart carrying the weight of human suffering. He does not escape the world, he does not fight his thoughts, and he does not suppress his pain. Instead, he turns inward and does something radically simple. He watches his breath, not to control it, not to force calm, but to understand it. With each inhale and exhale, something subtle begins to change. His mind slows, his awareness sharpens, his suffering loosens its grip. This was not mysticism divorced from reality. It was a deep observation of how the human system truly works. Fast forward to the present moment. In brightly lit laboratories, scientists observe something remarkably similar. When the breath becomes slow and conscious, the nervous system shifts. Heart rate variability improves, stress hormones decrease, inflammation markers begin to drop. The brain rewires itself, strengthening areas responsible for emotional regulation and weakening those linked to chronic fear and anxiety. What monks discovered through direct experience, science is now mapping in neural pathways and biochemical reactions. But this story is not about monks or scientists alone. It is about you, sitting wherever you are right now, carrying silent tensions in your shoulders, shallow breaths in your chest, and thoughts that rarely stop racing. Modern life has taught us to live in our heads while forgetting our bodies. We scroll, we rush, we worry, and through it all, our breath becomes shallow, hurried, and unconscious. Over time, this way of breathing quietly tells the body that it is never safe, never at rest, never truly at peace. The Buddha understood that suffering does not begin with events. It begins with unconscious reactions. And breath is the bridge between the unconscious and the conscious. It is the only part of your nervous system that you can control voluntarily and involuntarily. You can breathe without thinking, and you can choose how to breathe when you become aware. This makes breath a doorway, a meeting place between body and mind, between ancient wisdom and modern healing. Neuroscience now confirms that slow, mindful breathing directly stimulates the vagus nerve, a long wandering nerve that connects your brain to your heart, lungs, and digestive system. When this nerve is activated, your body shifts from survival mode into healing mode. Digestion improves, immune response strengthens, muscles soften, the mind becomes clearer. This is not metaphor, this is physiology. And yet, long before these terms existed, Buddhist teachings described the same shift using different language. They spoke of calming the winds of the mind, of settling the inner currents, of returning home to the present moment. What makes this knowledge so powerful is not its complexity, but its accessibility. You do not need special equipment. You do not need years of training. You do not need to escape your life or change who you are. You only need to remember how to breathe in a way that tells your body it is safe again. Safety is the foundation of healing. Without it, no supplement, no therapy, no external success can bring lasting peace. Consider how often your breath changes without you noticing. When you are anxious, it becomes short and rapid. When you are angry, it turns sharp and forceful. When you are sad, it grows heavy and irregular. Your breath is constantly responding to your inner world, translating thoughts and emotions into physical signals. But the relationship also works in reverse. Change the breath, and the body begins to send new messages to the mind. Calm replaces urgency. Clarity replaces confusion. Presence replaces fear. Buddhist meditation practices did not begin with complicated visualizations or abstract philosophy. They began with breathing, simply knowing when you are breathing in and knowing when you are breathing out. This gentle awareness creates a space between you and your thoughts. In that space, something profound happens. You realize that thoughts are events, not commands. Emotions are waves, not identities. And suffering, while real, is not permanent. Modern psychology echoes this insight. When people learn to regulate their breath, symptoms of anxiety, depression, and trauma often soften. The mind becomes less reactive. The emotional charge around memories decreases. This is because conscious breathing sends a signal to the amygdala, the brain's fear center, telling it that danger has passed. Over time, the brain learns a new baseline, one that is calmer and more resilient. Yet perhaps the most beautiful part of this journey is how gentle it is. There is no force involved, no pushing, no striving, no fixing yourself. The Buddha taught that liberation comes through understanding, not control. Breath awareness is an act of kindness toward yourself. It is a way of listening to the body instead of demanding it perform. It is a quiet invitation to rest in the present moment, exactly as it is. As you continue listening, you may begin to notice your own breathing more clearly. Perhaps it feels shallow or uneven or tight. That noticing itself is already the beginning of healing. Awareness is the first step in every Buddhist path, and it is also the first step in every scientific model of behavioral change. What you become aware of, you can gently transform. This journey we are taking together is not about mastering a technique. It is about remembering a truth that has always been inside you. Your breath is not just air moving in and out of your lungs. It is a living rhythm that connects your body, mind, and emotions. It carries ancient wisdom in every inhale and modern science in every exhale. And as we move deeper into this exploration, you will begin to see how something so ordinary can become a powerful medicine. As awareness deepens, something subtle begins to shift. The breath is no longer just happening in the background of your life. It becomes a companion, a quiet guide that walks beside you through every moment. In Buddhist teaching, this stage is not described as achievement, but as remembrance. You remember what it feels like to be fully here, inside your body, instead of constantly ahead of yourself, lost in anticipation, or behind yourself, tangled in memory. The Buddha taught that the mind, when untrained, behaves like a restless animal. It runs toward pleasure, flees from discomfort, and rarely stays still long enough to see reality clearly. Breath awareness was his chosen method, not because it was mystical, but because it was honest. You cannot breathe in yesterday. You cannot breathe in tomorrow. The breath only exists now. By returning attention to it again and again, the mind slowly learns the art of staying. Modern neuroscience offers a striking parallel. When attention anchors to the breath, activity in the default mode network of the brain begins to quiet. This network is responsible for mind-wandering, self-referential thinking, and the endless internal storytelling that often fuels anxiety and dissatisfaction. As it softens, regions associated with sensory awareness and emotional regulation become more active. In simple terms, the brain shifts from rumination to presence. This is why so many people report that mindful breathing feels like coming home. Not because problems vanish, but because the relationship to problems changes. The breath does not argue with life. It flows with what is. In Buddhist philosophy, this quality is called equanimity, a balanced mind that can meet pleasure and pain without being thrown off course. Science would describe it as nervous system regulation. Different languages, same experience. As breathing slows and deepens naturally, the body receives a message it has been craving. You are safe enough to rest. Muscles that have been holding tension for years begin to soften. The jaw unclenches. The belly moves freely again. Digestion improves not because you forced it, but because the body finally has permission to relax. Chronic stress keeps the body in a state of emergency. Conscious breathing gently turns off the alarm. Research shows that slow, rhythmic breathing increases oxygen efficiency and improves carbon dioxide tolerance, which is essential for healthy cellular function. This balance allows blood vessels to dilate, improving circulation and reducing strain on the heart. From a Buddhist perspective, this is the harmonization of inner energies. From a medical perspective, it is cardiovascular support. Either way, the body begins to heal itself. But healing is not only physical. Emotional wounds often live in the breath. Trauma, grief, and unexpressed fear can restrict natural breathing patterns, locking the body into protective postures. Buddhist practitioners observed this long before the word trauma existed. They noticed that when the breath was held, the mind was also holding. When the breath was allowed to move freely, emotional release followed naturally, without force. Psychology now understands that breathwork can gently access the limbic system, where emotional memories are stored. Slow breathing creates a sense of containment, allowing difficult feelings to arise without overwhelming the system. This is why breath-based practices are increasingly used in trauma-informed therapy. The breath becomes a safe anchor, a reminder that even in discomfort, the present moment can be survived. The Buddha did not promise that breath awareness would make life pleasant all the time. He promised clarity, and clarity has a healing quality of its own. When you can observe sensations, emotions, and thoughts as they arise and pass, you no longer drown in them. You begin to see their impermanent nature. This insight alone can loosen the grip of suffering more than any external solution. One of the most profound shifts occurs when breathing becomes a mirror. You start to notice how the breath responds to thoughts. A stressful thought tightens the chest. A kind thought softens it. This immediate feedback teaches the mind something deeply important. Inner dialogue matters. The body listens to every word you silently speak to yourself. Breath awareness reveals this connection not as theory, but as lived experience. From a neurological standpoint, this is the process of neuroplasticity in action. Each time you choose to breathe calmly in response to stress, you strengthen neural pathways associated with resilience. Over time, the brain learns that calm is an available option. The stress response becomes less dominant. This is not positive thinking. It is physiological retraining. Buddhist monks would describe this as cultivating wholesome states of mind. Science describes it as conditioning the nervous system. Both agree that repetition matters. Not repetition driven by discipline alone, but repetition born from understanding. When you feel the immediate relief of a slow exhale, you do not need motivation. The body itself invites you to continue. There is also a spiritual dimension that science cannot fully measure, but many experience directly. As the breath becomes steady, the sense of a separate, struggling self begins to soften. There are moments when breathing feels less like something you are doing and more like something life is doing through you. The Buddha spoke of this as non-attachment, the loosening of the illusion that we must control everything to be okay. In these moments, a quiet joy can arise. Not excitement, not pleasure, but a deep contentment that feels stable and grounded. Neuroscience might describe this as increased activity in the prefrontal cortex and balanced neurotransmitter levels. Buddhism would simply call it peace. Whatever name you give it, the experience is unmistakable. As awareness continues to grow, breathing begins to influence how you move through daily life. Conversations feel less reactive. Challenges feel less overwhelming. You notice pauses where there used to be impulsive reactions. This is the breath working beyond meditation, weaving itself into ordinary moments. The Buddha emphasized that true practice is not confined to sitting still, but expressed in how we live. Scientific studies support this integration. People who practice mindful breathing regularly show improved emotional regulation in real-world situations, not just in controlled environments. Stressful events trigger less extreme physiological responses. Recovery time shortens. The body returns to baseline more quickly. This is resilience, cultivated breath by breath. What makes this path so gentle is that it does not require you to become someone else. It invites you to be more fully yourself, without the layers of tension and fear that have accumulated over time. The breath does not judge how well you are doing. It simply responds to attention with honesty and consistency. As we prepare to move deeper, it becomes clear that the breath is not just a tool for calm, but a doorway to insight. It reveals how deeply interconnected your thoughts, emotions, and physical health truly are. In the next part of this journey, we will explore how ancient Buddhist breathing methods align with cutting-edge research on longevity, immune health, and emotional well-being, and how this simple practice can quietly transform not just moments, but an entire life. As the journey continues, the breath begins to reveal a deeper intelligence, one that goes beyond relaxation or stress relief. It becomes clear that breathing is not just a response to life, but a conversation with it. Every inhale invites nourishment, every exhale offers release. The Buddha spoke of this rhythm as a reflection of nature itself, arising and passing, receiving and letting go. When you align with this rhythm, the body remembers how to heal in ways that feel almost instinctive. Modern research into longevity and immune health has uncovered something remarkable. Chronic inflammation, often called the silent driver of aging and disease, is strongly linked to prolonged stress and dysregulated breathing patterns. Shallow, rapid breathing keeps the body in a constant state of low-grade alarm. Over time, this state erodes immunity, disrupts hormonal balance, and accelerates cellular wear. Slow, conscious breathing interrupts this cycle at its root. When the breath deepens naturally, levels of inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive protein, begin to decrease. White blood cell function improves. The immune system becomes more efficient, not by fighting harder, but by working smarter. In Buddhist language, this is balance. In scientific terms, it is homeostasis. Either way, the body shifts from defense to restoration. The breath also plays a crucial role in how the body manages energy. Mitochondria, the tiny power centers within your cells, are highly sensitive to oxygen levels and stress hormones. When breathing is calm and efficient, oxygen delivery improves and cortisol levels stabilize. This creates an internal environment where cells can repair themselves more effectively. The Buddha may not have known the word mitochondria, but he understood the importance of conserving and cultivating life energy through mindful living. There is a quiet wisdom in the way the body responds when the breath is allowed to flow freely. Sleep becomes deeper. Muscles recover more quickly. Pain signals soften. This is not because pain disappears, but because the nervous system no longer amplifies it unnecessarily. Studies on chronic pain show that mindful breathing can reduce pain perception by altering how the brain processes sensory input. The sensation may remain, but the suffering around it diminishes. Buddhist teachings describe suffering as the added layer of resistance we place on top of discomfort. Breath awareness helps dissolve that resistance. When you breathe into sensation without judgment, the body often responds with release. This is why breath-based practices are now used in pain management programs and rehabilitation settings. Ancient insight finds modern application once again. Emotional health follows a similar pattern. The breath influences the production and regulation of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine, which affect mood, motivation, and emotional stability. Slow breathing supports a balanced nervous system, creating conditions where emotional highs and lows feel less extreme. The Buddha described this as freedom from the tyranny of craving and aversion. Psychology calls it emotional regulation. As emotional balance improves, relationships often change as well. When the breath is calm, listening becomes easier. Empathy arises more naturally. Reactivity softens. This is not accidental. The same neural circuits involved in self-regulation are also involved in social connection. By healing yourself through the breath, you quietly heal the way you relate to others. There is also a profound effect on mental clarity. With consistent breath awareness, attention stabilizes. Memory improves. Decision-making becomes less impulsive. This is supported by research showing increased thickness in brain regions associated with focus and executive function among those who practice mindful breathing. The Buddha emphasized right attention as a cornerstone of wisdom. Science now shows how that attention reshapes the brain itself. At a deeper level, the breath begins to dissolve the illusion of separation between mind and body. Western culture often treats them as distinct, but both Buddhism and neuroscience reveal a continuous loop of influence. Thoughts shape breathing. Breathing shapes thoughts. When this loop becomes conscious, choice emerges. You are no longer trapped in automatic patterns. You gain the freedom to respond rather than react. This freedom is where true healing begins. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of choice. The breath gives you a pause, a moment of space where wisdom can arise. The Buddha taught that liberation is found in this space, in the gap between impulse and action. Science would describe it as increased prefrontal cortex activity, inhibiting reactive circuits. Again, different maps, same territory. Some people experience moments during conscious breathing where time seems to slow. The sense of urgency fades. There is a feeling of being held by something larger than personal effort. Buddhism does not frame this as escape, but as intimacy with reality. You are no longer pushing against life. You are participating in it fully. These moments often bring insights that feel deeply personal and universally true at the same time. You may realize that much of your tension comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. The breath teaches you how to engage without gripping, how to care without clinging. This lesson alone can reshape a life. From a scientific perspective, these insights correlate with shifts in brainwave patterns. Increased alpha and theta activity are associated with states of relaxed alertness and creativity. These states support problem-solving and emotional integration. The ancient meditators described them as states of clear seeing. Both point to a mind that is awake, yet at ease. As practice deepens, breathing becomes less of an exercise and more of a way of being. You find yourself returning to it in moments of uncertainty, pain, or joy. It becomes a trusted ally, always available, always honest. The Buddha emphasized that true refuge is found within, not in external circumstances. The breath embodies this teaching in the most practical way possible. By now, it is clear that the breath is not just a healing tool, but a teacher. It shows you how to live in rhythm rather than resistance, in awareness rather than autopilot. In the final part of this journey, we will bring everything together, exploring how to integrate this ancient Buddhist wisdom and modern scientific understanding into everyday life, and how a simple relationship with the breath can quietly transform your future, one moment at a time. As this journey reaches its final turning, the breath no longer feels like something you are learning. It feels like something you are remembering. It has always been there, faithful and steady, waiting for your attention. What changes now is not the breath itself, but the way you live with it. The Buddha taught that wisdom is not collected like information, but embodied through daily experience. Science agrees in its own way, showing that lasting change happens not through insight alone, but through integration. Integration means that the breath becomes part of ordinary life. It is there when you wake in the morning, before thoughts rush in and shape your day. It is there in moments of tension, offering a pause where reactivity once lived. It is there in moments of joy, grounding excitement so it does not turn into grasping. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, life begins to feel more spacious. From a physiological perspective, this consistency is what allows the nervous system to rewire itself. The brain learns through repetition, not force. Each time you respond to stress with awareness rather than panic, neural pathways associated with calm grow stronger. Over weeks and months, your baseline state shifts. What once felt like effort becomes natural. This is how healing becomes sustainable. The Buddha described this as walking the middle path, not suppressing experience and not being overwhelmed by it. Breath awareness supports this balance with quiet precision. It does not demand perfection. Some days the breath will feel smooth and open. Other days it may feel tight or restless. Both are teachers. Both are part of being human. One of the most transformative realizations that emerges over time is that healing is not about fixing something broken. It is about removing the conditions that keep the body and mind in distress. Chronic stress, unconscious breathing, constant mental noise. When these soften, health often follows naturally. Science calls this removing allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear of stress. Buddhism calls it the cessation of unnecessary suffering. As the body heals, identity begins to soften as well. You may notice that you no longer define yourself solely by your problems, diagnoses, or past experiences. There is a growing sense of being more than any single story. The breath plays a quiet role in this shift. By anchoring you in direct experience, it reduces the mind's tendency to cling to labels and narratives. This does not mean life becomes free of difficulty. The Buddha never promised that. What changes is your relationship to difficulty. Pain may arise, but it no longer automatically becomes suffering. Fear may appear, but it does not have the same authority. There is a steadiness underneath, a sense of being held by something reliable, that something is not external. It is the rhythm of your own living breath. Modern medicine is increasingly recognizing this truth. Integrative health approaches now emphasize nervous system regulation as foundational to recovery from many chronic conditions. Breath-based practices are no longer seen as optional or alternative, but as central to healing. What was once dismissed as ancient or spiritual is now supported by data, clinical trials, and measurable outcomes. Yet the deepest benefits of breathing consciously cannot be fully captured by statistics. They are felt in small moments: a calmer response to a difficult conversation, a deeper sleep without medication, a quiet joy that arises for no obvious reason, a sense of presence while doing something ordinary, like walking or washing your hands. These moments accumulate, shaping a life that feels more whole. The Buddha taught that awareness brings freedom, and freedom brings compassion. As you become more attuned to your own breath, you may notice a softening toward others as well. You recognize tension in their voices, hurriedness in their movements. Instead of reacting, you respond with patience. This is not a moral achievement. It is a natural outcome of a regulated nervous system and an open heart. There is also a profound humility that emerges. You realize that healing was never something you had to chase. It was always available, carried in something as simple and intimate as breathing. This realization can be deeply moving. It reminds you that wisdom does not always arrive in dramatic moments. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as something you have overlooked your entire life. As this exploration comes to a close, take a moment to notice your breath again. Not to change it, not to analyze it, but simply to feel it. The rise and fall. The subtle pauses, the sense of being alive right now. This is where ancient Buddhist insight and modern science meet. In direct experience, in the body, in this moment. The path forward does not require effortful striving. It asks for gentle attention, returned again and again. Each breath is an invitation. Each moment is a chance to come back to yourself. Over time, these moments weave together into a life that feels calmer, clearer, and more aligned with what truly matters. If this journey has resonated with you, if you feel the quiet truth of it settling somewhere deep inside, know that you are not alone. This wisdom has been walked by countless others across centuries, and it continues to unfold in modern lives every day. May your breath continue to guide you toward balance, healing, and inner peace. For more transformative wisdom that blends ancient teachings with modern understanding, subscribe to Divine and Spiritual 0369 and continue this journey of healing, clarity, and conscious living.